Hey, what's going on? Steve here, Rake and Profit. In this video, I'm going to share how I plan to retire from reselling, not anytime soon, but essentially what my financial plan is. So right now, I'm taking the profits that I'm making from my reselling businesses and I'm putting them into three main categories. One are other businesses that I'm growing. I have a personal brand, obviously on my YouTube channel and everything that I invest into, which makes up affiliate marketing, my own products, so on and so forth. I also have another private label brand that I'm running, which I'm sinking a lot of money into, which I'm trying to build up. I also have some other various coaching businesses, different things like that. So that's one part of it. But I'm taking my reselling profits and I'm building my personal brand, my private label brand, wholesale, all that stuff, right? Secondly, I'm putting money into index funds. Each and every month, I have money that automatically is invested into my retirement plan, and I have a fiduciary planner, which essentially is helping me with my asset allocation, investing into various index funds, and that's a long-term play. And then third is real estate. So one of the funds that I have, one of the index funds that I have is made up just for me purchasing multifamily properties every 2 to 3 years. So I have about $2,500 a month, which is pulled out of essentially my savings, whatever you want to call it. But I have $2,500 a month that automatically goes into this fund. It's a low risk index fund. And what this is for is the purpose of buying a property every 2 to 3 years to have money for the down payment, which for me is about 25%. So I'm saving $50,000 to $75,000 every 2 to 3 years to buy another property. So right now I have 2 properties. I have about $125,000 in index funds, which I'm building up. It should be a lot higher, but I did a lot of stupid things over the last year. So that's why I ended up hiring a fiduciary planner, because I kept pulling my money in and out of the market. And that's pretty much the dumbest thing you can do when you're young. Don't try to time the market. If you time the market, you're going to miss those small little windows where there's huge, gigantic gains. And if you just hang in there when things are down, things always come back if you give it enough time if you're younger. The older you get, obviously, you have less time on your hands. So it's just riskier for you to wait for the market to correct when you need to use the money. So those are the 3 things I'm investing my money in. Other businesses, for the most part, index funds, and real estate. So the reason I'm investing in index funds is because it's been proven over time that index funds over the long haul, if you look at it from a long distance or a long time frame, average between 8 to 10% per year. So just the compound effect alone in terms of people putting money into the stock market. And I love index funds because you make up a huge part of the market instead of it being more volatile due to just individual stocks. But there's been more millionaires made from people who just started young, put in a couple $100s a month into an index fund, or just matched right into the S&P 500. And over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I mean, if you just put in $100 a month and you start when you're 18, it's almost guaranteed to be a millionaire when you're in your 50s and 60s when you go to retire. So those are the 3 things. But I love index funds because it's just even though, the market will probably get destroyed over the next 3, 4, 5 years because it's been going up so much, over the next 15, 20, 30 years, I have faith that, a lot of the stocks I've invested in, which is mostly U.S. Index funds, but also I have exposure to international and foreign markets as well. I have faith that, the world is going to continue to innovate and create and build and become better and better, just like we've been doing over the last hundreds and thousands of years. So I love index funds. I've got it automated. I have a certain amount that comes out every single month. And then when it comes to tax season, I sit down with my my CPA and we talk about, can I put more money into this? Can I put more money into that? Did I max this out? Different things like that. Now, real estate, I love real estate for a couple of reasons, because right now I have 2 properties and I'm paying a bunch of extra principal on them right now. So those should both be paid off in less than 15 years, probably around 13 years. I'm going to have both those properties paid off. And right now alone, I'll tell you why I like real estate. Number one, real estate's known to appreciate over the long haul. It's the same with stocks over the long haul. Over the next 3, 5, 7, 8 years, who knows? Real estate could get cut in half. But over the long haul, in 20, 30 years, which is the amount of time I plan to hold them, pretty much until retirement, and live off of it, it's been proven to appreciate. So that's one of the benefits. Another benefit is cash flow, positive cash flow. So I'll give you an example. The first property that I own, the mortgage, taxes, and insurance comes to about $1,350 a month. Right now, for those units alone, I used to get $1,200 a month, and then it went up to $1,300. Now one of them is at $1,500 a month, which pays the mortgage, taxes, and insurance, and the other one's up to $1,450. So that's almost bringing in, and the garage is about to be rented out. So that unit alone is going to bring in around $3,000, and my mortgage, taxes, and insurance is only about, let's just call it $1,400. So that's about a $1,600 positive cash flow. Now, remember, that's not all profit in my pocket because I have my management company, which is going to take about $300. And then there's going to be, little repairs and stuff over time, lawn care. And then, there's going to be the big stuff like, the roof, and maybe there's the siding at one point, or painting, or there's an issue with the driveway. So you have to account for that. So we'll just say that's another $500 a month, conservatively. So that alone is still about an $800 positive cash flow. So we have the appreciation long-term. We have the positive cash flow, which is great, which for me, honestly, I'm not even taking that cash flow and putting it in my pocket. I'm just putting it right into the principal because I want to pay it off as long as possible. Now, a lot of people say that's not the best thing to do. You should take that money and invest it in other assets and stuff, which is a good idea, but I just don't like to leverage myself. I just want to have, a couple properties paid off, and I'll explain my plan. When I'm like in my 50s, I hope to have 7-8 properties based on my plan, but that's another benefit. But the big benefit, even outside of tax benefits, which there are some benefits, is equity pay down. So on that first property I was telling you about, where the mortgage and taxes and insurance is $1,350 a month, I put 25% down. So that property is worth about $300,000 right now. I owe about $165,000 on it. So I already have, $140,000 in equity in it. But my tenants are the ones paying the mortgage, taxes, and insurance. They're paying off the principal and interest. And when you own a property, there's something called an amortization schedule or an amortization chart, which essentially means the newer the property, like once you get the loan, you're paying down the interest at first, but as that loan advances, you're paying more and more of that actual principal balance. So to make a long story short, the tenants are the ones that are paying down that note, and I'm building more and more equity in it. So there's appreciation, there's some tax benefits, there's positive cash flow on the front end if you want to take that or use it to pay down the mortgage, and then the tenants are paying the actual note down, which is giving you that benefit of equity, and eventually it'll be paid off, and now you have this thing that's worth $300,000-$500,000, which you could sell if you wanted to and then take a huge hit and pay a bunch of taxes, or you could just hold that asset, and now, let's say in 12 years from now, that's probably going to be bringing in, $4,000 a month or something. That's going all into my pocket minus repairs, management company, so on and so forth. So that's my plan in terms of retirement, is to, obviously invest in my businesses and have my businesses spitting off positive cash flow, have my index funds eventually built up to multiple millions, where I'm able to take some of the like the dividend payouts and live off what the index funds are actually spitting out in terms of profits or cash flow, whatever you want to call it, and living off of my real estate. And of course, reselling, I've said this in other videos, reselling is a skill that nobody can ever take away from you. If I ever, want to make some money, I'll just go garage selling on a weekend, hit up a flea market, go to thrift stores. I don't know if thrift stores are always going to be there and if Facebook Marketplace is always going to be there, but there's always going to be a medium. And that medium is going to be some type of platform to buy and trade. It's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. So that's my retirement plan with reselling. Make money with reselling, invest it into my other businesses, take those profits and then move them into saving for down payments for real estate properties and putting money into index funds. And eventually the main goal is to live off of the money that my stocks or my index funds are paying off in the form of dividends, live off the profits of my businesses, and then live off the cash flow of my real estate. So the goal is to buy a property every 2 to 3 years, to continue to invest every single year into my index funds and my retirement. They're inside of retirement accounts, so they're protecting me there in terms of some tax liabilities and whatnot up front and down the road, and then obviously build my businesses. So just want to share that with you. If you have any questions, let me know. But with that being said, much love.